give her a drink way better than milk.
What drink might that be?
What was the recording process like?
It was done at Peyton's family's house and then his actual house. Well, his personal house.
Yeah, it like started in my brother's bedroom because he lives in like a converted garage at my parents' place. So it's like a big like hardwood floor. So it sounds kind of nice in there. So we would have to kick him out of his room for like an entire day.
Days, yeah.
And we would like buy him dinner afterwards. But we started there, and then me and my girlfriend moved into a house that also had a big, also converted garage, and we like finished recording there.
How long did it take to record it?
A long time.
Like a year. I think. When's the last thing that we recorded? Was that in November? October?
I think so, November, yeah.
Yeah. We started January of 24. So pretty much across the entirety of last year.
But it was like split up into recording chunks. It wasn't like a year straight.
We weren't
recording.
like every day for a year. I think we probably had less than 10 sessions overall.
Yeah, I think so.
So if we had like a whole week, we probably could have done it in a week.
How many songs are on that album?
12. It's like 11 tracks, but two of the songs are on one track, so it's like 12 songs.
When was the material on the album written?
I wrote a good chunk of songs late in 2023. Like I wrote Wraparound, Circles of You. I wrote those on the same day. I'm trying to think what else I wrote then. But most of the album was kind of like plucked from demos I had from like the previous 5 years or so. Like Young Love is the first song that I ever wrote. No, but yeah, like all those demos and stuff is kind of where I drew most of the album from. And then most of the work was structuring those and kind of like polishing them and getting them ready to be done by a band.
Do you have any particular writing process?
No, it varies. Like some songs, it's like one sitting, I'll have the whole song. Other things, like I mentioned, it takes years for it to kind of be done. I'll have to come back to it like annually before it's at a point where I think it's ready to be done in the studio or something.
Do you start writing on the guitar or?
Yeah, usually. I have like 2 songs that I've written on piano. Yeah, but that's it.
Which is crazy because you don't know how to play the piano.
I don't know how to play the piano.
It was cool, like some of the songs we would like, he would have like the chords and the words, and then we would figure out what to play kind of just like in the moment, like before we started recording it.
Yeah, they each came up with their own parts for pretty much everything. I don't think I really dictated anything.
No.
I did have some parts on the demos, but they were not good.
Yeah, I think it helped make everything kind of like fresh and spontaneous and in the moment to like just kind of make it up like the day of, you know?
Yeah.
I think that adds a lot to it.
It's kind of like albums from the 60s and 70s where it's just, you just go into the studio and like they'd have to make up parts on the spot.
And that was like a new thing since Songs from the Muck was mostly you, right?
Yeah, the only thing I didn't do on Songs from the Muck was the drums on Love Song. That was my friend Mike Kirchhoff.
True, but you have a spontaneous streak in you, like just like singing words that aren't even written down and just like made up on the spot somehow.
That is true.
And they're like kind of good. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah. Improvised lyrics.
Yeah, I can't do that.
It only worked the one time.
Going into making your first album, was there any concept you had planned?
Not really. There was definitely a common energy I felt amongst all the songs. I kind of decided to put the album together at a point in my life where it felt like I was like turning a page as like a person. I felt like I was making these breakthroughs, so it's kind of like riding that wave of energy. But in the moment, I don't really think I had a specific concept in mind, really.
just naturally it kind of felt that way.
Yeah, it just kind of fell in line. But now that I've kind of been living with the album in some way, shape, or form for like a year, it's been interesting for me looking back to see like there is like a structure to this that I wasn't even thinking about when I put it together. It's like, oh, there's like weird parallels and stuff.
Who are y'all's favorite artists currently? Who are y'all listening to?
Right now I'm on a prog rock kick. Really like Mahavishnu Orchestra, Yes, Rush, King Crimson, Jordy Griep and the New Sound. Listening to that a whole lot.
Yeah. You go.
I really love MJ Lenderman right now. Adrian Lenker. This band called Friendship. They're kind of a similar MJ Lenderman kind of vibe. I love their lyrics. Horse Jumper of Love.
Charlie?
I'm always bouncing between stuff that I've always listened to and newer stuff. So like lately I've been diving really deep into Sabbath. Crimson is also like something I've been listening to. A lot of King Crimson. Jordy Griep. What else? Van Halen. Lots of anime scores. I'm not afraid to admit that.
How did the three of y'all start making music together?
Well, it was through Alex.
Yeah, it's all my fault.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got really, 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 really drunk one night, and I had a friend to tell me that I needed to put together a band to play all of my French Revolution material. And so I like drunk texted Peyton moments before it all went away.
Literally,
And I was like, remind me, text you tomorrow, Revolution.
Yeah. I was like on vacation and I got this like cryptic text from Alex, and it was like everything was misspelled and like I could like barely read it, and it was just like tomorrow remind Revolution. And I was like, oh fuck yeah, I know what's going on.
Yeah, because I obviously I knew both of you for a while. Like I jammed with Charlie once, and I thought that his playing was really, really good, and we had similar musical interests. And then Peyton I met in school, and we were doing composition together. And for some reason, there's a video of him playing a 3 against 5 polyrhythm on shakers, which I don't even. It'd take me a minute to figure out how to do that.
Hello.
And so, seeing him do that, I was like, okay, he's got to be the drummer because he can probably do whatever I want him to do. And Charlie can shred, so he can play bass and guitar. And so I kind of stuck us together. But then it turns out that they also like to write songs too. Who knew? So now we all play each other's stuff. And it's been really, really a lot of fun. It's been amazing.
It's been very, very fruitful.
Yeah, I don't even like think of myself as a drummer, but I like drum for both of them, and it's kind of like what I mostly do live now. So
Yeah.
it just happens that way.
Yeah. And he and I actually went to the same high school. We didn't know each other.
Yeah, we didn't know each other.
Do y'all practice any other creative mediums?
I've recently picked up painting. I'm not any good at it, but it's like a nice like turn my brain off and just put stuff on the canvas. And I would like to write like, I don't know, poetry or like short stories or something, but I haven't sat down to do anything like that.
Yeah, I do a lot of stuff, which probably makes me really slow at everything. I like paint. I like to write poetry, play music. For a while, I was trying to learn how to animate, and that was like a huge rabbit hole that I've never made any progress on. So I was like, maybe I should give this up. But yeah, my mom is an art teacher, and so like from a really early age, she just like encouraged me and my siblings to just like do whatever is fun. It was never like I never had to like practice like guitar. It was just like I love playing guitar, so I just like picked it up all the time. Nothing was ever like you have to do this.
Alex?
Mostly music. I'm kind of no good at all the other ones, although I do practice with the written word quite often. I try and write like stories and like pretentious essays about stuff, and they're never any good. But I think it helps me write good lyrics at least. So mostly music.
Exercise the language side of your brain.
Yeah.
Tell me about the creation of the album artwork.
That was Peyton. He made that.
Yeah, I was really inspired by this. Fucking blanking on the artist.
I forget his name too.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up, but I was like really obsessed with this one artist who just like incorporated a lot of different kind of like almost like childlike techniques, but like controlled in a way that seems really purposeful. And that's kind of like how my art style is kind of naturally too. But I just was kind of like channeling his style. Some might say ripping off, but yeah, I was just like obsessed with his stuff, and asked Charlie if he wanted me to if he wanted me to make the art. So I just tried it. I made like 2 different versions.
Yeah, it's funny because I had independently been following that same guy, and then he sent me like a thing about it. He was like, "Do you think I could do this?" I was like, "Hell yeah!" But I think it works with the album because it's kind of like chaotic, but there's like a thing to it, you know.
There is a thing to it.
There is a thing to it.
There's something.
Why did you choose Young Love as the lead single?
I thought it was kind of interesting that it was the first song I wrote, so it was kind of like in one way it was kicking off a new era because it's like with the band fully and the album's rolling out, but also it's the oldest thing possible at the same time, and I kind of enjoyed that duality.
Louis Rosengal
Oh, that's
is
the
his name.
Oh, okay.
Shout out Louis Rosengal.
Peyton and Alex, what direction, if any, did you take in playing your respective instruments on the record?
I feel like, I don't know, like I said, I don't think of myself as like a drummer. So I was just like coming up with parts that kind of made sense to me, I guess, that like fit what he was doing more so than like, usually I'm like building a song, like the whole thing. So I'm like thinking about each part, but I was like working off of like what he was making. So I had to like not like overplay too much and like mess up what he's got going on. It's like I was more so like filling a function of the song more so than I think about my stuff.
Yeah, I feel pretty similar, although I kind of like, I always like, you know, like melodic bass lines, and so I like it, so then I would just try to do that. But in a similar way to Peyton, you know, you have to avoid, you don't want to like take over the song in a selfish way, but if you have a cool idea that you think would actually improve the song, you don't want to let that go either. So you kind of have to be respectful, but you can't be afraid of putting your own personality in it too if you think that it'll actually be like interesting and make the song better to listen to, you know?
Yeah.
Add a little twist to it.
I think that comes through across the album.
Yeah. I think about like wrap around the like bass chords you play in that song. Like, that's kind of a risk to take, like playing chords on bass sometimes, because it can be like
Yeah.
distracting, but that worked really well together with everything else.
Which I usually wouldn't do, but I felt like called to try and do something like that to deliver like felt like it needed a big, thick, crazy sound like that, you know?
Intuition is always the best guide for that.
There was also some parts where I was like thinking about percussion as like sound design, kind of like the end of Young Love. I'm like bowing a music stand because he like played a chord and that was the end. I was like, I feel like it needs some more like something else to make it feel like punctuated. So I was like, the day before I was like fucking around like bowing a music stand. I was like, this would be a cool sound.
And on Young Love, he added the synths in that song, in the, I guess the choruses?
Yeah, in the chorus.
Yeah, in the chorus. And whenever we were first adding that in, I was like, I don't know about that. But I was like, we can keep it in for now. And then when we did vocals for it, he took it further, and like cranked them, and it was just like, okay, like that absolutely fits me.
Yeah, I just like maxed out the distortion on the synths, and we
Yeah.
both just like looked at each other.
We're
We're like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all definitely have a like a good layered soundscape like across the record. A lot of different stuff going on. Not just the music.
It's about finding that enough like sonic stuff to where it works as glue, but it doesn't like cover everything else.
Are there any styles or instruments that y'all would like to incorporate like on future projects?
I think for myself, I'd like to do some like kind of dark and heavy stuff. But then also I want to write really like upbeat, like Beatley pop songs or something. I'd love to have a project like that where it's like acoustic guitars and hand claps and shit like that. Just do something completely different.
Right now I'm working on an album where everything's recorded on like with a cassette recorder, just to make it all kind of be in the same like sonic world, but kind of shitty. And I've been writing a lot of like almost like surf rock-y kind of stuff, and some like more angular stuff than I usually write.
Is there anything on the album specifically that y'all were like, I want to do more of this?
I don't know, just recording more songs that are good. I
Yeah.
don't know. I had a
Yeah.
great time.
Yeah, it was all of our first time like working with other people extensively like that, like in a room. So
Yeah.
that's, I mean, it's a huge game changer.
Yeah, because we all kind of just like record our stuff pretty like solo
Mhm.
most of the time, and this was my first time like tracking like a live band situation. And then like as we were going, we were all like, duh, it makes sense to like go through a whole take of a song. If it doesn't feel right, you do another take. But like getting through a whole take instead of like stopping and like starting from the beginning, we're like, oh, we fucked up. It's just like just keep playing through the song, and if it's good as a whole, you can like punch in the shittier parts. So that was kind of big for me, because usually I would play something, and if I fuck up, I gotta start over, which is like really stupid. But
Yeah.
in my head, I was like, it has to be a perfect take of a song, but no, it doesn't. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm glad that we did it that way, because we didn't even have to do that many punch-ins. There was, I think the most any song had was 3.
Yeah.
I can't even think of which song it was, but it was really good to get that feel, and then we like overdubbed on top of that.
And I think it's kind of funny too, like, I feel like in recording all of my own stuff in the past, I kind of felt similarly to Peyton. I feel like I would do like the tiniest little flub, like maybe a note would like kind of ring out in a weird way, and I would freak out and I go, I have to start all over. But I feel like it helped me become less of a control freak, because I'm like, did I articulate that note kind of poorly? Yes. But will anybody ever notice? No. Not even me 10 minutes from now will be able to notice that I didn't, slide down quite the way I should have,
Yeah. It's like Kisses on the Glove. When we did that one, the take that we ended up using was like the final take we did. And I know like, I think y'all both wanted to do one more, but I was like, I feel like it just kind of works. Like it's kind of like loose, but it's kind of like still in the pocket in a weird way. It was kind of like, just keep it, chasing the dragon at a certain point.
Also, like learning like working with people instead of like by yourself. It's like one thing to like waste your own time if you're like by yourself, like making, like redoing shit. But if you're like with people, and if you get too hung up on details, then you're just like wasting everybody's time. And so it just makes you like, I got to make a decision and like stick with it and not be a perfectionist.
Kisses on the Glove is a standout track. How did you go about like, where did that song come from?
I don't know. It was, I moved out of my old apartment and I was staying at home for a while. I don't know. I was just like sitting in my room one day. I think I write something on piano like once a year or like once every other year or something, because I don't really know how to play piano. I can make like consonant sounds, and I can like, if I think about it, I can build a chord or whatever. But I don't know. It's just kind of like messing around with the piano. I was like, oh, this is kind of nice. And then just kind of went from there.
Did you have most of the tracks already written, at least lyrically, when y'all went into recording?
They were all. When we started recording, there were some that still didn't have complete sets of lyrics yet. But relatively quickly, they were all done. And musically, everything was written except for Absolution, which Peyton and I co-wrote like halfway through the sessions or something.
Yeah, it was like after one of our recording sessions, Alex had to leave, and then we were like, well, let's just like fuck around. I like sat on the piano, and it kind of just almost like happened like instantly. Like we weren't really like fucking around that much. I just like played something, and he like was like matching what I was playing, and we're like, that's cool. That's basically a whole song.
Yeah.
It was really quick. It was cool.
Was Mosaic Astigmatic always intended to be a long track?
Mosaic Astigmatic, yes, because there's like a weird, in my head, a long, complicated history with both halves of that track, because they were both like completely separate songs at a certain point. As a matter of fact, the bridge in Shoot the Medic was originally from Mosaic. It was like a riff in that song. But I decided to put them together because they both had kind of like similar intros in a way, but one was like the dark side, one was like the lighter side. So I thought it was like kind of a symmetry there. But yeah, they were both kind of separate ideas for a long time, and they were written years apart. But at a certain point, when I was putting the album together, I was like, this kind of makes sense as like one thing.
Your Loss has beautiful production. What was mixing this and the rest of the album like?
Well, Peyton mixed most of it. You can tell me some of that.
Yeah, Your Loss is also like probably my favorite song on there. I've been like learning that like you should try to like capture the sound how you want it to sound instead of like trying to mix it how you want it to sound later for the most part.
Fix it in the mix.
Yeah, like fixing it in the mix is like why not just like try to set it up in a way that like makes sense. So on like the backing vocals for that song, I was like singing through a toilet paper roll into the mic to make it sound way different than his voice, just to give it like more like separation. So just like weird things like that, I think really like enhanced the sound of it. Yeah, and the mixing, I've been like trying to mix stuff, and we're like working with this guy named Brad Krieger, who like mixed and mastered my album, and he's been giving us like mix critiques. Like I mix it, and I send it to him. He gives me like notes. So it's essentially like I'm getting like mixing lessons. He's like, try to add this. Like, the cymbals are a little too harsh. Cut a little bit out of the 4K range. So stuff like that, I'm like learning a lot. It's like the best sounding shit I've ever made. So
Yeah, I think that song sounds good. I think that has the most guitar overdubs out of anything, right? Probably.
I think so, yeah.
I think there's like 6 tracks of me playing guitar on it. It's like double electric, double 6-string acoustic, and double 12-string. So it's like a big like choir of guitar playing.
Sounds like the making the album was like a learning process for everyone, and like it was a new thing for everyone in different regards.
Oh, yeah.
I think you can tell that on the album. You can tell like there's this energy of like y'all feeling like this new process, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's like completely new for me because they've both had like full-length projects before, and this is my first like full-length project, so it was like a double new experience for me, like working on this much at once.
Yeah, you don't know how good you have it playing with other with other musicians instead of just slaving away in your room going Control R, bad note, space bar,
delete.
Control Z, Control R again, try forever.
Yeah, I could hardly stand that for doing 4 tracks at a time, let alone like a whole album.
Yeah. And it definitely sounds the best as far as the mixing goes. Peyton has done quite well.
Yeah, he's done incredible.
It's like, it's got to be the best that something that you record with like in like your home can sound probably.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Appreciate
It's a real rock album.
Yeah. Rock's back.
They all said rock was dead, and then we said, hold on.
Let me spill this milk real quick.
Some of the lyrics across the album lean philosophical. Do you find yourself writing in this vein often?
I guess so. It's easier for me, I guess, to write more abstract or something than to like try and write like a story song or something. Like Paul McCartney writes a bunch of songs that like have characters and stuff, and it's like I just can't. I'm not able to do that, you know. It's just not in me.
Alex is good at that.
Am I? You write characters?
Well, you're good at like making a story out of a song.
That's true.
Very
My songs also aren't very like narrative. It's just like abstract
Yeah.
images.
I like the surreal, imagistic thing.
Surreal, cosmological. Yeah.
Yeah.
My songs are always like, doesn't it fucking suck having a job?
Dude,
It's like all my songs.
capitalism's evil. R/communism. So
It's like well, all of your songs are about like a Lovecraftian monster.
Fuck.
Did recording this album inspire any of you in regards to any upcoming projects?
For me, I wanted, after like working with them, I was like, it is much more enjoyable to like actually like make things, not only to like share it with people, but like share the experience of making something with people. And I have an idea for an album of like even just getting like friends that don't consider themselves like musicians, but they can like sing or like they can kind of play guitar. And even like my family members, like my dad's the one that taught me how to play guitar. My sister can kind of play. She has a good voice, but just like get people that are in my life and just like let's make something together. That'll be fun. It'll be something that I can't make on my own. So.
Yeah, after recording Charlie's album, I'm like, oh, you guys can do what now? So I'm trying to make on this next album. I'm trying to get a little bit more progressive rock with it. Some weirder stuff going on. I'm trying to like do maximum power of like I guess like a rock trio is kind of what I want to do. And I don't know. There's just something about just recording music that I hate bands with 4 people in them. I can't stand it. You need 3 people. You don't need any more. Sometimes you don't even need 3, but 2 is not enough. But I don't know. I just think that the 3 of us getting together and just shredding hard on some music is really, I don't know, it just inspires me to try and push a power rock trio to its like maximum.
yeah, I think it's kind of similar for me, because now that I have the experience, it's like, oh, I can write more with this in mind. Because the songs I wrote, like, written like acoustically most of the time, or like even just riffs and stuff too. But now that I'm used to like playing with other people on a track, it's like, oh, I don't have to be playing the whole time. So I'm trying to write music now where it's like it really features the bass and drums and parts, and like I can be more creative in that aspect, in the sense that I don't have to do it. So I just be like, hey, just put something there, and it's just like it's there, So I'm trying to like make it even more interactive between the 3 elements of it.
What's next for Sorensic?
Hopefully playing more shows. That's what I really want to do. I have a decent number of songs written for the next album, but I'm not going to put any pressure on myself to like get that done at any specific point. I just want to just play as much as possible. That's kind of it.
What is your main goal as a musician?
I think the easy answer is to like, express things. But ideally, I would like to offer an alternative for like compared to everything else, you know, which I think every person does when they make music anyway. No two people will sound like the exact same. But I don't know, just try and write something that's different from like the mainstream or whatever. Even though a lot of my tastes are like kind of basic, I'm not afraid to admit that, but it's like just like lyrically, sonically, just offer something different. It's kind of, I guess, my goal as a musician.
Mine, I guess, is just to like do it forever, and because I never like regret spending time like writing something. It's always fun, and yeah, just like have a life to where that's always a part of it, and get more people involved in it because it's fun. And
yeah, kind of similar, you know. I don't know. I feel like my goal is always just to like whatever. I don't know. I've always thought that I want to write stuff that is like very I don't know, that can evoke something deep within people, something I don't know. Sometimes I try to write stuff that would evoke like physical movement, like dancing or moshing, you know, because I feel like that's very underrated in the age of concerts where everybody's just on their phone the whole time. I think dancing and moshing is like absolutely exhilarating.
Not a phone in sight.
Yeah. Or, you know, just an emotional thing, you know, just an emotional, spiritual kind of expression, you know, try to put something good into the universe instead of something horrible or evil or awful, which many people seem to want to do. Not any of you guys. But, you know, that's kind of I guess a goal.
Alright, that's it.
Cross your arms and drink the milk.
You go spill the milk out of the towel.
I spilled it on myself.
Did you? Oh.